All right. Welcome to Sideboard MTG. My name's Eric. We've got another great patron deck for you. This is Black Blades Monsters, and this one's by Magic Jefe. This is, I believe, a deck that he's playing around with in paper, so I definitely want to give some attention to it. I hope you guys like it. It's full of a lot of really cool interactions. So if you do like it, make sure you give it that thumbs up. And if you like the content in general, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you see my next video when it comes available. Also, if you want to play this deck or any other deck for that matter, links in the description box over to Manatraders. They're a rental service that will allow you to play any deck in Magic whatsoever, whether that's on paper or if that is online. So you can check them out if you do decide to sign up. There's a coupon code down there that'll save you some money. Make sure you use that. Other than that, we're going to jump straight into Magic Jefe's deck here. What's up, everybody? Well, Magic Jefe's got a pretty much straightforward, red green Heart of Kirin, let's crew Heart of Kirin kind of deck. We see that right here, right off the bat. Heart of Kirin, we've got Scrap Heap Scroungers. You guys might be like, how are we getting the Scrap Heap Scroungers back in a red-green deck? Well, we've got Aether Hub for a black source. And then, of course, we've got a Spire of Industry here for a black source. Now, Aether Hub, I think, is going to be a little bit more reliable for that black source, considering we've got Greenbelt Rampager. Greenbelt Rampager also works really good with Heart of Kirin, as when it enters the battlefield with its trigger on the stack to return it, you can actually tap it to crew Heart of Kirin. So you can activate Heart of Kirin's crew ability right there. Those are some options right there. That's a nice little combo. One of the other things I will mention right now before we get started too far into the deck is Greenbelt Rampager has some other like non-bows with the deck that I'm not really fond of. First off, like sometimes you're just going to be playing this Greenbelt Rampager as a 3 green mana 3/4. And if you're going to be spending 3 green mana for a 3/4, even if it is spread across multiple turns, I think you could get away with something like Thrashing Brontodon a little bit better. You'll notice that this deck has absolutely no way to destroy an enchantment in it whatsoever, and that's one of the big strengths to playing green, is that you can get through those Sillaways. You can get through some of those other, removal spells that the white decks are using right now. Cast Out, Ixalan's Binding, Sillaway, Baffling In. There's just a ton of enchantment removal or enchantment-based removal that I believe that if we are going to ever pay 3 mana just to get down a 3/4, I believe that Thrashing Brontodon would just be better. And I do think that with the only real synergy of Greenbelt Rampager in this deck as being able to play him Crew the Heart, have him bounce so that we have a safe pilot in our hand that is hard to deal with. I believe that if that's the only real purpose of Greenbelt Rampager other than being a 3 mana 3/4, I think that Thrashing Brontodon would be better in at least a couple of these slots. However, the deck does work really well with getting down that when you don't have that Land of War Elves. I mean, turn 1 green land, play your green belt, let it bounce. Turn 2, play another green land, let it bounce. Play it the third time, it eats the 2 energy, and then bam, you've got a 2 mana 3/4 on turn 2, even without Land of War Elves. And that's actually really, really powerful. However, it still dies to Fatal Push. Does get around almost everything else. It can profitably block your Goblin Chain Whirlers and things. So I do like the fact that we do have a 3/4 here. It's just sometimes I think that Thrashing Brontodon would be a little bit better. Another little non-bow I want to mention that I noticed when I was looking at this deck was that Land of War Elves doesn't fit really good on the curve if your turn 2 is Ronus. Now, if your turn 2 is absolutely anything other than Ronus, you're probably going to be all right. I mean, a turn 2 Jadelight Ranger is not bad. A turn 2 Pianalara is not bad. Other than that, if you turn 2 Rishkar is probably my favorite in the deck, because a turn 2 Rishkar means that you can put a +1/1 counter on your Land of War Elf, and then you're looking at having 5 mana on turn 3. So, I mean, we're looking at a lot of power there. If you do end up with a turn 2 Rishkar, I think it's probably the more powerful line in the deck, especially against those Goblin Chain Whirler decks that a lot of times won't even try to burn your Land of War Elf because they're expecting to be able to turn 3 Goblin Chain Whirler, have it die anyway. So your turn 2, even on the draw, being a Rishkar is probably your best bet. But if you look at the curve, if you can turn to a Ronus, you really have no follow-up for that, which means, just spending 2 mana and swinging for 1 with your Land of War Elves is probably going to be a better play. So just Heart of Kirin, is better play than on turn 2 than Ronus, mainly because the only thing you can do on turn 3 to be able to swing with Ronus is by some chance get down a Rekindling Phoenix. Now, you're not going to be able to play like Scrap Heap Scrounger and have the mana to pump it to be big enough for Ronus to swing. Your other option, it relies on chance. You could hit a Jadelight Ranger and hit a non-land off the top. Just allow it to stay there, and then if you need to get rid of it, you can get rid of it after the second Explorer. That would give you that option, but then you're also wasting yet one other mana. So I would like to see a little bit more, 4-drops in the deck that could actually, activate Ronus the Indomitable if you were wanting to make that play. But again, I think that turn 2 Rishkar is probably the strongest play against, these red decks and such. Other than that, just a turn 2 Jadelight or a PNLR works as well too. But I don't think I would go for the turn 2 Ronus because there's not a lot of outs in the deck that allow you to actually activate and swing with him on turn 3. So in that case, I would rather just play a Heart of Kirin and then hard cast Ronus for 3 mana on turn 3, and then swing with a Heart of Kirin. I just think that would be better. And then after that, you've got any of your crewers or something like that. Any of your other pilots can crew up that Heart of Kirin. The deck does really, really well at having 3 power on most of its creatures to be able to crew that heart. So I'm definitely saying this is a Heart of Kirin deck, even though it's only running 3. The one combo that I would like to see added to this deck, if you did keep the 4 Greenbelt Rampagers, would be I would like to see something like a Lifecrafter's Bestiary and Aethersphere Harvester. Greenbelt with Aethersphere Harvester and a Lifecrafter's Bestiary means that you can always give the Aethersphere Harvester lifelink, and you can do that over and over and over. Even if it already has lifelink, you can spend an energy to give it lifelink again. No, that does not create double lifelink. From my understanding, that used to be a mechanic. Like, you used to be able to give something lifelink more than once. But I don't think that works anymore. I know that doesn't work anymore. I don't know 100% if that was ever a thing, but I've heard that somewhere, I do believe. Anyway, you could continue to give a Aethersphere Harvester lifelink over and over to eat up your energy, so that you can continuously play a Greenbelt Rampager, and with a Lifecrafter's Bestiary on board to just draw. Other than that, if you had no energy, you could get 3 cast out of a Greenbelt Rampager for 6 mana and draw 3 cards. So 2 mana, draw a card with a Lifecrafter's Bestiary, Greenbelt Rampager sounds really good to me, and that's not really bad, especially considering we've got a lot of really cool ways to make mana. We can use Chandra to pump us up a little bit more mana there. We can put that into Ronus, or we can put that into PNLR, or we can use Grand Warlord Rada. Once everything is attacked, then we can use that additional mana to pump via Ronus again, or PNLR. We have Land of War Elves for a little additional mana. So all of these things work really well as far as the mana sinks go. He's got some really decent mana sinks in here, which makes sense that we could use the Grand Warlord Rada. But again, I'm just not fond of the way the curve works with Land of War into a Ronus. I just don't think that's a good turn 2 play. So if you have any other turn 2 play, I would try that over trying to get down a turn 2 Ronus. So that was just something I seen that if you have ever been trying to get down a turn 2 Ronus, I just don't think that it's a profitable play. Do I think Ronus is bad in the deck? No, I think he's probably your best mana sink. And I would just actually like to see more 4-power creatures that could actually crew him. So maybe a few more 4-power creatures up here on the 4 converted mana cost, so there would be really good follow-ups for that turn 2 Ronus on 3. Other than that, I really like the deck. I think that cards like Rekindling Phoenix and Heart of Kirin give a lot of resiliency in the air, and the same can be said about PNLR and Glorybringer. Just a lot of resiliency. Being able to fight up in the air is absolutely terrific. Now, the last card I want to talk about here is the Blackblade Reforged. Blackblade is just a really good card. A lot of people have tried to play it. I don't know if I would go all in with the 3 of here, but it's a great turn 5 follow up. Now, if you can have 5 mana on turn 4, then you can play this, equip it to something, as long as that something is legendary. So otherwise, you're going to need 7 mana to equip it. It costs 5 mana to play it and equip it to a legendary creature, 2 to cast and 3 to equip, 7 mana to equip to a non-legendary. So do remember that it does give +1/+1 for each land you control. So every time you hit a land, if you have your Black Blade, you're actually just getting more and more damage. Black Blade on anything is pretty much going to make Ronus able to swing, as long as you're just not putting it on the Ronus. So that is a little bit of something you got to worry about there. But I really like Ronus, and I think he's the best mana sink in the deck. So other than that, I like the main board. I do think that there's a little bit of room there for maybe some enchantment hate and maybe a couple Lifecrafter's Bestiary in the deck somewhere, whether those are in the side or the main. But I think Lifecrafter's Bestiary and a couple Aethersphere Harvesters would really go a long way in this deck, and those are going to be like my at first glance, those are the things that I think that I would want in this deck. Other than that, I really like the fact that your opponents are going to be spending 4 and 5 mana for their Glory Bringers, their Chandras, their Rekindling Phoenixes, and things like that, and you're just going to spend 1 mana to remove those. You've got the Chandra's Defeat here. Even if you're spending 1 mana to deal with their 3 mana Goblin Chain Whirler, you're getting somewhere. So I mean, that's a decent trade. 1 mana spell for a 3 mana spell, or 4 or 5. Those are always really good trades. So I do like Chandra's Defeat, and I can see that you are ready for that red matchup. You've also got a couple Magma Sprays here. These pair really well with some of your other kill spells, like you're getting rid of the Scarab God or something like that. So I do like the Magma Sprays. Having an answer for the graveyard is really good. I think you could probably get away with just putting this main board. But more colorless lands, I understand. So if you do want to just put this in the side, then that is a thing. There's not a lot of other deserts in the deck, so you're pretty much going to have to draw this one and sack it to itself. So you're not going to get a lot of effects out of that. So if that is the case, then you might want to try like one of the other cards, like maybe a Gravestone or maybe a Crook. But those are both susceptible to Abrades. And speaking of Abrade, you are running 3 of those, so no real problem there dealing with artifacts. However, we don't have any enchantment hate. Like we've got plenty of hate for things like the Scarab God, Teferi, Hazoret. Actually, there's not a lot of Hazoret hate. You can turn him off where they can't actually like sling spells at you. And in the main board, there's not a lot of ways to get bigger than him, but Ronus can block him all day long. So if as long as Ronus is online, you can block a Hazoret, and with the Sorcerer's Spyglass, you can turn off his ability. Sorcerer's Spyglass is just really good, and it usually redirects one of their Abrades that they're wanting to send at one of your creatures to that Sorcerer's Spyglass, so I do like that fact. Other than that, though, the Struggle to Survive is probably one of the strongest kill spells in the deck. Being able to end of their turn, put the Scarab God into their graveyard. They have to wait to the beginning of your end step before it gets triggered back into their hand. You untap, upkeep, draw, and then at sorcery speed, just spend 2 mana to shuffle those graveyards back into the library. So like you are targeting or you're not targeting anyone. So Shala can't stop this. There's a hexproof is not going to stop you from being able to shuffle their graveyard back in their library. Each player shuffles their graveyard into their library, so the Scarab God will be gone until they can draw it and replay it. So I do like having 3 struggles here. I just think that there needs to be some naturalize, possibly Lifecrafter's Bestiary, Aethersphere Harvester, things like that. Those are the cards that I would like to see here in the deck. But for the most part, the deck seems to be pretty well put together. I like it. I'm excited to maybe put a Black Blade Reforged on something and make it huge, and I'm hoping we get there with it. So we're going to jump into a game and see what happens here. Hopefully everything will go well, and we'll be able to make some huge Black Blade, or make some huge creature carry the Black Blade to victory. Oh, wow. Bad hand. No, no turn one here. And we can't even like double Lana War Elf on 3. I mean, it's a lot of ramp if we ever get started. But we're extremely susceptible to something like no. I mean, we beat Goblin Chain Whirler here. I'm gonna keep. We still beat Goblin Chain Whirler because we're on the play. Um, so that's not horrible. I mean, we are coming in a full turn behind here. So I know I want to play this Lana War Elves. And I'm not going to get anything else out of this land this turn. So I'm just going to play my tap land here and pass. The not having green on one is kind of bad. I do like the fact that we went ahead and played the Rootbound Crag. If we'd have played Mountain into Rootbound, I don't think we'd have done quite as well. He's just going to go ahead and shoot it. So we got rid of Walking Ballista there. Okay, so if he used Walking Ballista to kill our Lana War Elves, it makes me think he doesn't have a lot of other ways to destroy our Lana War Elves. So I'm just going to play it, and then I want to get some pressure down here. So I'm going to play this. However, if we'd have been looking at Goblin Chain Whirler coming down next turn, then I don't think I would have played exactly this direction. Champion Wits. Okay. Now we are going to have to be aggressive because the deck doesn't have any real way to fight. Okay, Minister of Inquiry. So we're blue black gift. Really? Okay. Well, we hit a land, so that changes things slightly. Um. So I want to put a counter on Scrap Heap Scrounger and Rishkar because I want as many 3-power guys as possible. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go Scrap Heap Scrounger and Rishkar. This also gives us the ability to create quite a bit of mana. And the main reason I did this pre-combat is so that I could safely get through this Champion of Wits. Um, Before, I really couldn't swing. He would have traded the Champion of Wits for the Scrap Heap Scrounger, and I'm not really looking forward to that considering I don't have any black mana left, or yet. I don't have any black mana sources, so we're not getting the Scrap Heap Scrounger back. And this puts more of a threat on it, so maybe he'll use like a Vraska's Contempt or something like that, if he even has it. Doesn't look like he has it. Looks like he's going for the GPG. Gate to the Afterlife. Here we go. Yep, he's trying to get there. He's got 3 in the grave already, so I expect him to start trying to put stuff in the graveyard here. We're gonna go. So we can go 4. We could play Phoenix and PNLR, but we wouldn't be swinging. I think we just want to get the Phoenix down, and we'll trade Scrap Heap Scrounger. And I'm willing to trade Rishkar for both of these. I don't want to kill his creatures, but I know that's kind of what's happening here. All right, I mean, he takes 4. Rishkar dies. We play the Phoenix. Llanowar Elf. The main reason I want to put the Llanowar Elf out here is because that gives us the option to get 2 pumps in if we draw another land. So that could be helpful. We may also there's his gate to the afterlife. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does he have the walking ballista for 0? Walking ballista for 0. Trigger the gate. So something's coming back. It's more than likely a champion of wits. Hostage taker. Never mind. We'll see what he takes. I mean, a hostage taker could be, yep, it's going to be it. Getting that Phoenix. So we need Glorybringer right here. Glorybringer would be quite good. Heart of Kirin. Okay, so he's going to be playing our Phoenix here. All right, so what do we want to do? I mean, do we want to have the option to pump? Is this more damage? If we Phoenix, or if we Pioneer, or is it just more damage to just swing? I think we Pioneer. Just go ahead and get our flyers down. We'll get into combat. I'm going to swing with these guys, and then second main phase play the Heart of Kirin. He's tapped down. There's absolutely no difference in playing pre-combat or post-combat. So I mean, I could have done this anywhere as long as I'd already made my decisions. But I think this gives us more flyers come next turn. I mean, he is going to like play Phoenix and get something back. So he's got a lot going on right here. There's nothing we can do about this God Pharaoh's Gift main board. Absolutely nothing. We do have a Braids in the sideboard though, so game 2 could be a lot better. We are pushing a lot of damage, and the opponent's definitely got to think about some things here. I don't think he's going to have to think much about casting our Phoenix, but you know. Okay, so we did not cast the Phoenix, which, oh, okay. What does he get back? Champion of Wits, probably. Seems like that would be good. Yeah, I think Champion of Wits would be the ideal thing to get back here for him. Just to let him draw more cards, maybe find some more outs. I mean, we don't have any removal at all, so that's a problem. Although top decking Black Blade would be sweet because he has no flyers. He is going to get in here. Okay. So he's got land, Gifted Aetherborn. Jade Light Ranger. What does that do for us? So if we Jade Light, we can crew with that. Allows us to swing with more guys. We can say this can't block. Let's go for the Jade Light here. I think this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to play Jade Light through. Come on, don't give me 2 land. Don't give me 2 land. Greenbelt Rampager. Do I want to land here? Let's put that in the grave. We're still only going to get 1 pump out of this. So we can crew. We don't have an artifact to sack. I'm not sacking the Scrap Heap Scrounger here. I think we just swing with Heart of Kirin. And then pump for 1. This will put him at 3. This is 5 in the air that we can do here. We put him at 3. He gains 2 back on the backswing here, which will put him back at 5. And then I expect him to play our Phoenix, which will give him a flying blocker. Gate to the Afterlife. Okay. So no Phoenix here. Walking Ballista. He's going to sack that. Hit our Lana War Elf. Make a mana. I don't know. Just in response. Float a mana. Aren't you supposed to do that? He's going to sack this. He's going to get 2 dudes back. I don't think this kills us. I don't think we're dead here. I mean, he's got a lot of damage coming at us, but I don't think we're just dead. We just need to protect PNLR. Oh no, he's got a Ravenous Chupacabra in the side. Or in the graveyard now. So he's going to be able to get back a Chup. Little Chups. Little Chups action here. This will deal with some things. Yeah, that's not cool. So there goes our PNLR. We got rid of one of our blockers. That's game. I mean, we can with the Chupacabra in the sideboard. That was our graveyard. That was kind of what got us. I guess I could have crewed here, and maybe I guess blocked here, and then like just block something else. I would have at least got Phoenix back. Yeah, I think that was the better play. We would at least gotten back the Phoenix. I kind of expected he had Fatal Push though, but yeah, that was a misplay on my part there. Again, though, I mean, if he had had the Fatal Push, we wouldn't have gotten there. All right, so let's get into the Abrades, because those are going to be good. He's got a lot of small creatures, so I like this. And see, Struggle to Survive, I actually like that over Scavenger Grounds. I'd bring in the Scavenger Grounds anyway here. I'm going to bring them in over the Field of Ruin, just because we can. I mean, it doesn't really cost us a lot to do that. I'm going to take out Ronus, and I'm going to take out a couple Jade Lights. I'm not real fond of those cards. Grand Warlord Rada is not going to do a lot for us here. And then we'll cut a couple Greenbelt Rampagers. Maybe even one um, one one Black Blade. Although, you know what, out of all the cards in this deck that I really want to see work, it's Black Blade. So we've got a lot of graveyard hate, so we should be able to just like hate this guy out. Hopefully, hopefully we don't get our one drops here, but this isn't bad. We do have a piece of graveyard removal, so we'll probably be firing this off fairly early. So I don't see a problem with just playing Forest and then just passing. I'd rather have like 2 Forest in play early and then like have a turn 3 Mountain, um, just in case we draw like Greenbelt Rampager or something like that. Now we know that our turn 3 is going to be like Rishkar or PNLR, so it doesn't matter what we play. I don't think there's a lot of draws we could have that would make me want to do something other than turn 3 Rishkar here. Just giving this Scrappy Grounder, 4 power seems good. I do want him to spend most of his early turns, like trying to fill his graveyard and things like that, and then like turn 3 or 4, give us a creature that we can actually kill and then get rid of. So we should have a decent play here. And again, we'll just try to come at him. There's that Fatal Push. I expect he had that Fatal Push last game. Like that Heart of Kiran, he didn't seem like he was worried about putting a flying blocker up, so I don't think he was worried about the Heart of Kiran there. And we got a 3/3 though. This champion of wits. Okay. So I expect he's going to throw some creatures in the graveyard here. Godfarrow's Gift and a Kitesail Freebooter. Okay. We got a 4-drop. Okay. We don't have an artifact, so it's not like we're going to use this for our second red source yet. But we've got 5 mana right now, so I mean we can do some stuff. Personally, though, I just want to play the PNLR. And I mean, if he wants to block, he can block. Don't care if he blocks or not. I expect that he's blocking either way just to put another creature in the graveyard. But he may just take the 3. Nope, just took the 3. Okay. First main phase, second main phase, I don't think that really would have mattered. If anything, showing that we had a little bit more here. Don't waste your time trying to remove the Rishkar. You need to be trying to remove these other things. Like sometimes it's a good thing to force them to, try to put their damage elsewhere. Don't kill the Thopter. Don't kill the Thopter. So I find Hostage Taker to be man, this is kind of exactly what we want. So we could go Rekindling Phoenix here, but I think he's going to play the Rishkar because I think he's trying to hardcast Godfarrow's Gift. So I'm just going to kill the Hostage Taker. We're going to give... I know he wants to kill the PNLR, but PNLR can swing this turn if we give her the +1/1 counter. I'm really trying to wait until like he has more stuff on the battlefield or in the graveyard before we actually fire this off. Ooh, Jade Light. Hmm. Let's go ahead and get into combat. Don't really want to swing here. If he wants to trade this, that's acceptable. All right, well, this isn't horrible. I was kind of hoping he would kill like my Rishkar or something so I could bring back the Scrap Heap Scrounger, get that out of the grave before we use up our survive. Um, but I'm okay with just passing here and holding up my Abrade. Technically, I've got double Abrade, and he really needs to put out some blockers or something of that nature. Like Rishkar has been really, really good here, just making our dudes that would normally just die in these combat situations, just making them slightly larger. We had all the tools in the sideboard to be able to deal with things. So, well, that's not cool. Got me, opponent. Got me. Getting rid of my artifact. Getting rid of my flyer. That cut us out of being able to play the Rekindling Phoenix or bring back the Scrap Heap Scrounger. So depending on what the opponent does here, we're just going to. What are you doing? The Scarab God. Oh my goodness. Uh, this isn't horrible. I can't really make. I really can't do the things I want to do here. So we're just gonna swing so that we can at least try to get rid of the Scarab God. Sweet. All right, so all of this happens, which is not terrific, but we needed him to block one of them. So he blocks. What? Okay, we're stuck in my, like that. I thought that went all the way to cleanup right there. That looked like it went to cleanup phase, and I was like, holy no, that is not what's supposed to happen. So we let the Scarab God go. We shuffle away our graveyards. The Scarab God's not there to come back to your hand. He's got 3 cards in hand. We got rid of, his entire graveyard, everything he had been building for. So now he's got to do everything again with considerably less creatures. I'm going to Jade Light here. See if we can get another land. I am definitely digging for land right here. So that's great. Yeah, I'm happy with that. This is another red source, so I'm also happy with that. So depending on what he wants to do here, like if he wants to play something for 0 or something, I may just destroy the gate to the afterlife. But I really just want to hang on to this Abrade to get rid of the God Pharaoh's Gift. So I mean, if he does like just do all of his shenanigans, gets the graveyard full and that sort of thing, I don't think I want to tap down below God Pharaoh's Gift. Okay. We do see that he has it. I guess we are going to tap down here. And we're just going to destroy target artifact. And then this turn we're just going to play our Glorybringer. Another Aether Hub. That's not bad. And we're just going to try to do like just, back-to-back Glorybringers. We needed that extra Aether Hub. Otherwise, we weren't going to have the mana to actually cast the second Glorybringer. So that worked out really well for us. Don't think I have a reason to swing with the Jade Light Ranger other than just wanting to kill one of his other dudes, but I am a little worried about just the hard cast God Pharaoh's Gift next turn. I mean, if he top decks a land, he's hard casting a God Pharaoh's Gift. If he hard casts a God Pharaoh's Gift, he's going to have the Angel back, and that's not going to be good for us. So. Don't play land, God Pharaoh's Gift. Please don't play land. There's land. Hostage taker. I mean, he can't cast Glory Bringer. Okay. Cast it. Cast it. Cast it. We're going to game 3, guys. We got there. All right. Nice. Nice. We got there. Whew. I was a little bit worried. I really was. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little worried about where we're gonna be able to get there or not. Spinning that abrade a little bit early was probably really loose, and I about as loose as him swinging here. I mean, I guess he gets in the 2 points of damage. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna use that red source. Play Glorybringer and go to the next game. All right. 2 Glorybringers. That seemed to work pretty well. What do we want here on the draw? Like, I kind of want to bring in Ronus again, but the Hostage Takers, Ronus is really dangerous to bring in Ronus against Hostage Taker. I think we just stick with what we've got. We've got all of our hate for this deck. So, I'll just never know if he was holding that Fatal Push. I want to know if in game 1 he was holding that Fatal Push. Okay, well, not the fastest hand in the world, but it's also not the slowest. I am going to keep it. I mean, we get to turn 2 Scrap Heap Scrounger, turn 3 Jadelight Ranger. We're probably not looking for lands here. We're probably just like looking for those +1/+1 counters. So as long as we reveal something that's not a land, I'm going to leave it up there. We're going to get that +1/+1 counter. We're going to get both of them, and then, oh man, yeah, we're not looking for lands here, ladies and gentlemen. Not looking for lands. We'll see if he meets us with a Fatal Push. No Fatal Push. Doesn't really have a lot going on here, though. Gifted Aetherborn. We will attempt to make this trade. I mean, if he wants to give us his Gifted Aetherborn here, we'll take it. He elected not to do that. So we're going to Jadelight Ranger. And we got a land and a Llanowar Elf. Not really interested in the Llanowar Elf. I do kind of like having a creature in the graveyard, so if this does die, we're that much closer to being able to get it to work. I don't think that Spires of Industry, or the Spire of Industry, is a really good card here. You don't really have a lot of artifacts, so like rarely are you going to have this artifact when you really need it. What are we killing? Jadelight? Okay. So do you swing for 2? Gain some of that back? Okay. There's an Aether Hub, though. That'll help. Maybe even should have waited till after combat to play that Aether Hub, just so he wouldn't know that we have our black source. But showing him the black source, he's less likely to block, maybe? Okay, so second main, I'm just going to Llanowar Elves here. And then we're just going to try to bring back Scrap Heap Scrounger. Walking Ballista for 2. So he uses 1 there on the Lana War Elf, which we weren't really worried about. I'm going to create a black mana. We're going to go Scrappy Scrounger, eat Lana War Elf, bring back Scrappy. And then all the bringers all the day. We'll exert. I am going to kill the gifted Aetherborn here. So if he wants to put the Walking Ballista in front of the Scourge, that's fine. He may elect to do that and just shoot us for 1. He did not. He just took the damage. Okay. So depending on what he plays here, we exert our next Glorybringer. We may end up with Bounding Glorybringers. Bounding Glorybringers is really hard to deal with. Each turn removing something and swinging for 4 in the air. That is, we are setting up for a very, very bad turn for us next turn. I mean, if we kill this and then he, okay, so how do we do this? Yeah, I think we still have to kill it. But I think we kill it without exert. So I think the play is just swing. So he wants to put this in front of it so he can bring it back as 6 power next turn. The main reason that I'm just swinging into it like this is because next turn I want the ability to double exert on a creature. And double exert seems real good to me. It'll deal with his 6 powered Angel of Invention. Doesn't look like he's really interested in fighting me in that direction, though. We'll see what he has in mind here, though. Hmm. I mean, he has the land to go Godpharaoh's Gift, Ravenous Chupacabra. He does not have the Godpharaoh's Gift. Wow. All right. I mean, we take our beats. We're down a ton. Hostage Taker. Grabs Scrap Heap Scrounger. Plays Scrap Heap Scrounger. Okay, so what does that mean for us? Let's play land. Now we're at 6, okay? So if we double exert, we kill Angel of Invention and Hostage Taker. Swing for 10. He has 3, 4, 5, 6 swinging back at us. And the only reason I say swing for 10 is, oh no, we have to put one of the counters on Risk to be able to clear the Heart of Kieran to block next turn. Maybe we take out the most damage. So we go Rishkar first main phase. Glorybringer, Rishkar. Enter combat. Exert. Here we remove this because that's the most damage. And then don't really want to give him another hostage taker back. Don't want to let him have that extra point of damage here either. That could be wrong. I think it's here though, because he's going to have like 8 mana next turn. He's going to be able to put stuff into it. So we hit him for 9. He goes to 3. We play the Heart. So we just need to be able to block one thing here. And he needs 2 kill spells to be able to stop us. So if we block 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just don't have another angel. No other angel. Don't have God Pharaoh's Gift. Hostage taker. What are you taking? We're going to crew. Wow, we need to pull something that can crew next turn, guys. No crew, we lose. Rishkar. Gives those guys a buff, so that's 4. Oh, man. It's good math, dude. Good job. He got there. He got there. I mean, even if we block the 3, we're looking at just too much damage. Yep. Let's talk about the deck a little bit. I kind of think we should have been able to beat a God Pharaoh's Gift deck. Hostage Takers were really they were really good for him right there, being able to take our creatures away and us not have removal. I think that's probably one of the biggest things about this deck is it needs to have some removal in the main board. There's not a lot of removal, and those spots that would normally be removal are kind of being taken up, by cards like the Black Blade Reforged and the Greenbelt Rampagers. I mean, if we had some Thrashing Brontodons, stuff like that in the deck, we could actually rely on those to remove the artifacts a little bit more, which would take a little bit of pressure off of the abrades at dealing with creatures. So in something like a God Pharaoh's Gift deck, you're wanting to save those abrades or those artifact removal for the God Pharaoh's Gift. However, if you have nothing else that can remove creatures, sometimes you might need to spin those abrades in at creatures, and that's not always great. So having Thrashing Brontodon in the deck, I think, would help a lot. I think out of all things, Thrashing Brontodon would be very good. I do like the idea of red-green monsters. I think there's a lot to work with here. Black Blade Reforged is a really good card. It just adds a lot of power to your creatures, but I think that some of the cards you have to run in the deck just don't really line up really well with it. We never really got to a Grand Warlord Rada. We never got to her, so I'm not really happy that we didn't get to see that play. Personally, she could probably just be better used as more Phoenixes or more Glorybringers. The Black Blade could just come out to give you some more main board removal. You might even want to add a little bit more in the black side of things, maybe kind of jun this up a little bit so that you could actually cast those Scrap Heap Scroungers. I don't think that Spire works really well here. Unless you have the Black Blade down or a Heart of Kieran, most of the time you're just going to lose that artifact. Especially if one of your artifacts is your Heart of Kieran or your Scrap Heap Scrounger, they're going to be working at ways to kill those. And not having a lot of black means that they're more likely to kill that Scrap Heap Scrounger because they know it's going away for a while. So maybe a couple couple sources that could actually produce black mana would be a little bit better. But for the most part, I really like the deck. I think the deck's got some stuff going for it. I think that you can increase the power of the deck in certain matchups a little bit just by trading a couple of these Greenbelt Rampagers, maybe a Jadelight Ranger, and 2 of the Greenbelt Rampagers out for 3 Thrashing Bronzodons would help a lot. And then if you didn't want to like stick with the Black Blade Reforged plan, I would just put some removal in here. As far as Rada goes, she's a cool card. I don't think that she's amazing. She's cool. I'm not a huge fan of Rada. But you know, if you're going to take this Rada out, I think you could do well with either another Chandra, another Rekindling Phoenix, a Glorybringer. You could also do well with some Ripjaw Raptors. I do think that you need these 4-drops in the deck because you know that's going to all these 4-drops are going to be cards that you can use with your Land of War Elves to have, you know, really powerful 3-drops. So, you know, Ripjaw Raptor, the Aegisaur, I think it's the Aegisaur, Territorial Allosaur, maybe? Territorial Allosaur, cards like that. 4 mana, a lot of power. You can use those to turn on the Ronus, things like that. I think that if you made a couple shifts to this deck, you could really smooth out that curve to give it a very, very mean curve. And that's something that I would look into if you did decide to do any work to the deck. Other than that, though, the deck seemed pretty good. We had some really powerful plays there. Ended up just losing to some hostage takers. So is what it is. I still had fun playing the deck. I think the deck is really nice. I just think that we've got a little too many of the, hey, these are cool cards I would like to play in the deck. If you've seen Rush's Sword Point Diplomacy deck, he had a really tuned Jun list that he only decided to go with for a broken playset, two of one card and 2 of another card, to be his kind of fun of cards. I think that there's already a really good red-green monsters deck floating around that you could probably go from that and then put a few of your fun cards in there. If you wanted to run 2 Black Blades and 2 Grand Warlords, you could do that. But I think when we start trying to put green belts and all of these other cards in, I mean we're taking 7, 8 cards just to make this little fun element. I think that takes a little too much out of the deck. Other than that, throw in some Naturalize, some other way to deal with some enchantments, even if it's Crushing Canopies. Crushing Canopy would be great. So a lot of room to work here. I like the deck. I like where you're going with this, and I hope some of my suggestions have been beneficial. That some of these things will work with each other. But the deck was a lot of fun, and had a lot of fun playing it. If you guys decide to play it, I hope you guys have fun with it. If you guys decide to tweak it a little bit and take your version of it, let me know in the comments on what you took out, what you put in, and why. Why did you like this over this? What matchups does this help you with? Things like that. These are always comments that the entire community is always looking forward to. So if you guys want to help out with that, awesome. We'll see you in the comments. Other than that, my name's Eric. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you had fun. We'll see you next time here on Sideboard MTG.